Good morning. Hello, all. I'm assuming you can hear me. It appears to be that we have the right sort of lights on. I'd like to welcome you to episode 148. One world champion. It's cold. I would say it's as cold as a witch's titty, but I have had witch's titty. It's pretty freaking sweet. It's actually some of the best titty you will find. Actually comes from witches. I know that we talk about inversion a lot here, but this is really striking me as being something profound, something that we should consider. I think we should consider that. So yeah, how's it going, chat? Yep, cold here too. We got rain, stuff like that. Okay, good. You can hear me. Sean's agreeing that witches' titties are nice. Thank you, James D. Time to sling some gravy. Thank you, sir, for the super chat. And Gaia Bear wouldn't let me super chat at $5, so let's bump it up. Remove your pants, Gaia Bear. You're gonna have to pay me more than $10. In fact, it's probably gonna have to be real money, not this fiat stuff, right? I'm talking real money. I'm talking the witch's titty, right? I'm talking about good money. Some of you have children in the room, and I'm really sorry. Some of you are children in the room, and I'm glad I made you laugh. So there we go. There we go. Jason Day's in the bullpen today. Jason Day is taking the mantle and leading our first dojo. So I'm looking forward to watching that happen. So if you guys want to join us for the dojo after the show, let us know. Yesterday, holy wow. All right, so yesterday, I walk into class, and one of our attendees just fucking nails me right in the face with the board, just right in the face with the door. Calls me out on my behavior, my reaction to the rabies, Amanda, Andy, love triangle thing, and we just freaking had it out. It was beautiful. It was one of the most beautiful displays I've ever seen, and I couldn't believe that it only took us. We're on today's dojo number 12, and it only took dojo number 11 for a student. When I say student, I'm using this. Please understand, I'm the one who right now is leading these dojos, so everyone sadly is looking at me like sensei. And I've been trying as hard as I can to eliminate that role because this has to be like a Quaker circle, basically. Anyway, I got fucking nailed right in the face, and it was beautiful because it took me down just in time. And today, Jason will be running the dojo, and I'm excited because when Jason runs the dojo, I can freaking throw some boards at y'all because I can't do it I can't because I'm the mod. I can't do that. I have to be nice. I have to be polite. I have to be supportive. I have to be in the corner like, oh, do you want some chips? You know, I got to make sure there's punch. You got to make sure there's, crap like that. I got to clean the bathroom and stuff, And now with Jason, I get to slink among you and try stuff. So yeah, there you go. Anyway, let's get to the show. Let's get to the show. But the show is actually about that. It's why I bring this up. It's why I bring this up. Just so you know, I don't want you to feel like you're missing anything in the dojo. We go over the content here, but what we do in the dojo is we explain how it affects us personally, right? How different strategies affect us, how we handle different things, right? Things like that. And one of those things is, James, how are we going to deal with your behavior? And that's perfect too. It all works. It works. In fact, I was kind of happy with how I've been handling myself. I know some of you do not agree. Oh, yesterday I had some hot mic issues, and I'm guessing I probably have those a lot more. And so I really need to. I want to work on my skills and get better at the mic. I know that I can't speak too loud, but also I have a really big problem because I'm moving my head around like this, and it's causing some issues. So I'm going to try and get better at that, guys. I can't really promise you, though, but that is my goal. In fact, maybe it's too high. This is boring. I'll stop talking about this. I didn't I was really I've been having trouble today. Everything is taking me like a super long time to do. I don't know if you guys get that way, but like it happens that way. Today's one of those days. I am actually healing myself electrically. Talked about this in the dojo. I've had to. I'm healing myself electrically, and it comes out in different ways. Part of that electrical healing is your permeable torus, your electrical torus, as we talked about before. For those of us who do not shit on the ego and the heart, for those of us who understand the most important system you have probably is your circulatory system, and to talk shit about that is kind of like stupid. You've learned to sense and understand that your egoic field, this electromagnetic field, it's a 5-dimensional electromagnetic field. If you were to picture your torus, just because we can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It's a coat of many colors. When we stop shaming your coat of many colors, you will be able to see it, and you can't see that right now, which is what we're getting ready to talk about. That field that I have has been broken. It's been broken by lies. The lies of someone else, the lies of me. It takes two people to lie. And when you're in a victimhood, you will never, when you're living in the hood, a victim, you will never see that it takes two people to lie. In fact, you will spend most of your life saying, no, that's not true. There's a liar and there's the good, innocent person who is lied to. There's the scorpion and there's that lovable frog who was just trying to help people out and start a Uber, across the street. He wanted to start some kind of Uber was all. A community-driven Uber that would help poor kids, right? It takes two people to lie. And I've learned that the hard way. And we spoke about that. There is of course there's the person doing the lying to you. Of course there's that. But it requires you to believe it. It requires you to believe that. And we can't play victim anymore and pretend we didn't see these lies coming. We can't do it because you're smarter than that. I'm smarter than that. We're smarter than that. And you'll say it's because you weren't paying attention. And it's not. You were paying attention. In fact, most of the lies that you bought because you were dilated when you bought them. And to dilate is to pay attention. When you were dilated, you were fully in the moment. Your pupils, your cervix, your heart, your consciousness, all of these things. There's a dilation that occurs. You are amped up. You are turned up to full volume, just like the gain on this mic. So it's not that you weren't paying attention. It was the opposite. It was the opposite. The reason why you participate in the lie is because it made you feel alive. You believe in the lies that make you feel alive. You believe in the lies that make you feel dilated. And we think it's the opposite. We think, well, no, lies are here, and they're heroin. They're the ones that make us feel good. But victimhood's a lie. Does it feel good to be a victim? I know the masochist loves to be a victim, but there's no masochists here. I've ran your ass out of here a long time ago. Any masochists that are still surviving in this live stream today, you're like self-deprecating. You've taken masochism to a level that, frankly, I think you're normal again. Like, that's how masochistic you are, is that you've pushed that masochism so far out that you penetrated the space-time fractal Mobius strip back into sadism and came out the other side as normal. And a lot of us call that kind of journey enlightenment. You can get there two ways, right? Some of us think, well, the key to enlightenment is to not be bothered by anything. Truly, the enlightened one is the one who's like a teenager who's like, yeah, that doesn't impress me. That doesn't impress me. That doesn't impress me. Truly, the enlightened is the one that sits around and bitches about how painful life is. And, oh, it's so suffering. Oh. But you've missed the message because you are not on the mountain yet. You hear life is suffering and you think, oh, I see. What he means is that life is awful. And so for me to be the Buddha, I got to be like, yeah, man, this fucking life's awful. I could be like a teenager and be like, hey, you want to go to the batting cages? And the teenager's like, I fucking guess so. Jeez. I could ride a go-kart. Just like feel G-forces in my cochlea and just, fine, I'll go. It's like that. That's not enlightenment. No, life is suffering. Suffering is caused by desire. Life is suffering. So to be I am is to suffer. And to suffer is to have desire, which means that you could look at Buddhism and look at everyone else that's like shaving their head and like, oh, I'm washing my bowl again today, and go, what the fuck's wrong with you, dude? Life is suffering. Life is suffering. You're not suffering. You're not joying or you're suffering. See, we don't have a joying. Life is joying. But this is about dilation. I'm talking about dilation. And when someone lies to you and you like that lie, it dilates you. Someone gives you heroin. You might say, oh, well, heroin makes you subdue, man. It makes you take everything. But what it does is it dilates you. It dilates you. And you realize life is suffering. And you're just like, yeah, this sounds great. I am thriving on the dilation. And if I need to get that dilation through suffering, I will do it. And you will go to that place that we call enlightenment. Through either pole. Either one will take you there. So, keep suffering if you want. Because you will, because it dilates you. And we are addicted to the dilation, which comes back to the lies. This is a sheet of plexiglass. And this is the closest representation I could find in the last 20 minutes to indicate your field. Your toric field, right? Your electromagnetic field. And when you lie to yourself, you are placing a black spot on the inside of your field. And now your field, Illuminati confirmed, has a black spot on it because you are lying, and it's on the inside out. Now, all your energy still comes out, all your prana still comes out. The only thing that changes is that you no longer can see. You block that part of it out. I'm lying to myself about the truth that there's a window up there, right? And so we will block out that window. That window makes me think of Illuminati. There's an owl up there that's going to want to have butt sex with me, right? So you block that out. You block that out. And that's a lie on the inside. So things can still, this is still clear. Your outer shell is still clear, but your inner shell is not. This is when we lie to ourselves. All right? We lie to ourselves about what's going on. And then the world lies to you. The world lies to you, and it comes on the outside. And the world tells you, do not look at that dude. He's Illuminati confirmed, whatever. And then you get that's now on the outside of the world. And I want you to notice that neither of these two have anything to do with each other, but both of them cause the same thing. That there's lies inside and there's lies outside. And what we don't know is that I want you to think about this electrically. I want you to think about this electrically. Because when you lie to yourself, you are corroding the inside of your torus. You're flinging mud. You're blacking it out. You're providing melanin. We've talked about this, the eye of Ra. You're secreting melanin so you will not see certain aspects of your life that you're lying to yourself about. And when you believe, okay, so first of all, I want you to listen to, I know you're already listening. This lie from the outside is only attached to your shell by you. And it's because you believe it. This is a lie you believed, so it's stuck. All right? This is a lie you told yourself, and it stuck. This is a lie the world told you, and you believed. Okay? Now, I want you to see the anatomy of this because you're going to understand how this works electrically. That how there's so many people out there that see a reality that's completely different than you. And it's because they're seeing the electrical reality of their toroidal field, and most of it is blacked out. And that blacking out comes from the inside or the outside. And we go to school, and instead of showing our children how to clean the inside of their toroidal field out, we spray foam the outside. We create a crop. We crop them. And the ability to crop is truly probably the most high magic you can find. When you consider what a director does to a movie or an editor does to a film, you're seeing the true magic of placement and cropping. And what they're truly doing is that they are blocking out certain portions of the scene to dilate you. To dilate you. And when Vin Diesel jumps off a cliff and lands on the car that has a parachute in the trunk, they don't show you the green screen because that would ruin the dilation. They crop it for you differently. See, we can crop things. We can change. Right? All of the control is with the editor, and you are the editor of your field. And I think we lose ourselves because we don't know that we're the ones that are responsible for putting this on the outside by believing a lie, by believing the lie. It's only black when it's a lie. Why? Because the lie is there to disguise the truth. The lie is there as a collector of light. It's a black hole where light is bent and warped into that lie, and now the truth cannot see past it. You cannot see what's beyond the lie. That's why the lie is there. The lie is literally there like a drop of melanin to stop the retinas from seeing the truth. And we tell ourselves, the evil psychopathic overlords fooled us, and all they do is try and cover us with molasses. And you can see the world that way. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you're ready for the dojo, you are going to understand that that electrical field, that torus, that toroidal field around you is your doing. And that the truth is that you were born inside this shell that was completely blacked out. It was so blacked out and so thick that the only sound, the only energy, the only essence that could get through for a while was directly through the port of your umbilical cord. And that you were so fragile and so darkened and so covered up, the plexiglass wasn't even clear. It started in abyss. Abyss, the beautiful word abyss. It started there, all black, completely covered. And as you move through life, you are scratching. You are scratching the surface and you are removing these spots. You are cleaning your shell as best you can. And the entire time, sometimes by cleaning your shell, you're actually putting more on top. And instead of showing you the real world, outside of you is a world and there's a pond, and on that pond is a swan. But that swan doesn't make you comfortable. Why? Because the swan moves. The swan's not always in picture. You finding yourself having to be lazy as you look around. Where's the fucking swan? Okay, there it is. Now I can enjoy this picture. So what do? You go inside your field and you paint a swan. You paint one right there inside your field. You paint it. And you don't even call it a lie. It's lie by omission. You're omitting the truth. And you're covering it with what it is you called the truth initially. And no one catches you. No one says, "Oh, you're just lying." No one does that. No one does that. We are allowed to lie to ourselves because we need to. We have to. If we didn't lie to ourselves, everyone would be freaking out. Everyone would be freaking out. I know this because of how many people cast me out of their life for telling them truth. I know how this works because I'm the dude that walks up to people and I'm like, "Hey, look at that. Look, watch this. They're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." And they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing." I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm just raping your victimhood." And then I pull it out and then of course they're mad. They're so mad. Oh my God, they're mad. And none of us work on this stuff. None of us even understand the mechanics of it. Because that electrical black dot gives you permission to shit on, lie to, deceive, do the most worst behavior you possibly can, as long as you've covered up the inside of that shell with enough black. And as you're walking through the world, stabbing people with daggers because you can't see shit, you're going to reach a critical point where you've decided, at this point, I need more black paint in here, not less. Because frankly, it's just too hard. I don't want to see what's underneath there. And that veil is all electric. It's the veil of shame. It's the veil of sin. It's the veil of life as suffering. It's the veil of victimhood is what it is. And that victimhood gives you that venom to cover the entire thing with blood. You can pour the victimhood all over that coat of many colors, and it is just a dull, red-ass, flat color. And it reminds you of being in the womb. Just covered in it. Back then, I didn't do shit, man. Drank from a tube. And we weren't born enlightened. We weren't born clear. That's retarded. We weren't. There's no way there's no way your adrenals could have handled that. You're expecting too much. You're actually, what you're doing is that you're letting Babylon tell you that if you weren't born perfect, then it means you suck. And that's such a brutal manipulation because it's so effective. It's so effective. Here you go, buddy. This guy's a little shy. I don't know if he'll come. Nope. It's like, fuck that, man. We were born scared because your adrenals have so much amperage inside them. You don't give a kid a shotgun. Be like, "Here, try this out." You don't. You don't give him that. When you're in the movie theater and you walk out the door, that blindness you feel, I want you to imagine having that as your consciousness. The very beginning of life. It's too much. You're in a new cockpit. You cannot absorb that many G-forces without fainting. You have to build up your strength. It's the only way you're going to survive. But the victimhood, man, the victimhood, it's going to keep you down. It's going to keep us all down. And it's leading us to the next phase. It's causing the next phase to happen. And so many of us are like, well, I don't have to see it anymore, so it's okay. Fixing your field is not, there's no reward for that. There's none. Well, okay, so there's a reward, but it's, all you're doing is cleaning corrosion that you thought wasn't corroded. That's really all you're doing. If you're lucky, you'll come in and you'll find a fault in yourself. You'll find a fault if you're lucky, you will find a fault in your field. You will find where you've lied to yourself. You will find where you've lied to someone else, if you're lucky. And if you're lucky, you'll have a tribe around you that looks for faults in themselves all the time. And you'll join a dojo. You'll engage these faults as a constructive way of bettering yourself and bettering the world. Because the stronger your field is, the more colors in your coat, the more brilliant and setting you're going to appear. And that's good, not bad. You know, right now when someone lies to me, my first inclination is to go up to them and say, hey man, you lied to me. But that's not really what I should say. What I should really say is, hey, you fucking lied to yourself in my presence. You made me an accomplice. You asked me, hey, can you hold this stepladder? Do you mind holding this stepladder? I just have to. Here, James, just help me out. I just have to put this there. Thanks. Thank you for helping me lie to myself. This is what we call friendship. We call this friendship and loyalty. We do. We do. We have subterranean alliances built off the ability to help each other lie to each other. We do. We forge relationships with people that help us lie to ourselves. We reject people that hold ourselves accountable. Because when someone's lying to you and making you their witness, number one, they're telling you, you're too stupid to see that I'm lying to myself. And number two, they're telling you, you shouldn't have respect for your field either. You see how shitty I can treat my field with your help? And we don't understand that yet. We haven't really been able to see the truth of that yet. So no one lies to you. Someone comes up to you and gives you a lie, and you decide to keep it. It's true. You decide to keep it. And either it'll be too expensive to get rid of, or you'll like it. It'll make you feel good. Who knows? But it all comes down to the electric field. None of this, you're ever going to get there with your neocortex. You're not. You're not going to get this analyzing, talking about it, thinking about it. You're not. You're going to do this feeling. You're going to do this with feeling. You're going to feel your fields. And that's why I had to start off with telling you life is suffering is actually good news. Buddha's telling you dilation is life. Buddha's telling you desire causes suffering. Suffering causes life. He's showing you. He's not saying, whatever you do, don't embrace all the things that are in the world. He's telling you the secret to life is dilation. What is Christ, the necromancer? Christ is so dilated that he doesn't cast demons out. He doesn't trap them and ensnare them and throw them back into a pit and say, "Fuck you, demons." No. He shines compassion on them. He shines compassion on the affliction that the person has demonized inside their own field. And by showing that compassion, the person themselves able to say, well, wait a minute. God, if Jesus is down on his knees, washing my feet, who am I to demonize my toes? Who am I to demonize them? Who am I to say that my carbon footprint is black and dirty? When Jesus is here giving his full witness to the very thing that I've demonized, and we've cannibalized our feet because we have the fear of standing. And we live in a world where we help each other eat our own feet. We live in a world that's told you victimhood is sexy. And we've all believed this idea that if someone else lies to you, it's not your fault. And it is because you weren't smelling right. You didn't have your smell correct. And why did you not have your smell correct? Because you covered your nose. You covered your nose because you liked where you're parking, and even though it smelled like a 17-day-old porta potty left after a music festival, you're like, this is still a good spot. I just have to block out this one little porta potty. And we're pretending the whole time. Someone hid that porta potty from me. Thick gravy. Thank you, Melanin. Good to see you. Shadow work means shining a light on the parts of ourselves we've abandoned. Yes. Yes, we're looking at our field. And we can only see this field with emotion. We can only see this field with emotion. And that's why teenagers are so suppressed. It's in a healthy way. Don't be freaking out because your kid's goth. They're hardening their field. They're shellacking it. They're doing the best they can. And the reason why they don't show you excitement about things is because that is a leak in their field. They feel that's a leak in their field, so they can't do it. You'll catch them sometimes off guard, right? You'll catch a 13-year-old acting like a 10-year-old sometimes, or he'll forget. That happens all the time. When I was a kid, I loved playing kick the can, and I remember how sad it was because when I was getting like 11, I don't even know, but when I was getting like 11 or 12, if a car would drive by and I was hiding behind a tree, I would feel self-conscious. I would feel like someone is watching me hide behind a car. And if I was chasing the other kids or whatever, if a car drove by or if an adult was there, I felt like I shouldn't be here. This is wrong. I don't belong here. And it was such a gut punch, man. It was such a gut punch at the time. And that's part of, I was building my own field. Honestly, I was tearing my own field down. I was like, no, dude, I want to go back. Fuck this. No. I want to go back. Dude, we were riding bikes. We're having fun. Look, I want to go back. I think that first tragic loss is what you and me might interpret as a loss of childhood. Not all of you even determine that you've lost your childhood, but if you do, I think truly what you're feeling is that you've gained this field. You've gained this field that your imagination is no longer able to paint fast enough. Your imagination is carving the plasma of your world around you, right? Inside that toroidal bubble, that coat of many colors, your imagination is so powerful that it's using it like a chalkboard. And so when you're imagining, when you're playing, you've got your little toy inside your field. And so that toy's inside your field, and the toroidal humps that are on the background, that's the backdrop. That's your holodeck, isn't it? Your imagination's holodeck is your egoic field. And what happens is as you grow, as you're trained, you're holding the same imagination the entire time. Yeah, you don't stop imagining. What happens instead is you imaginate full time. You imaginate so hard that you forget you're imagining. And I will tell you that the definition of an adult is someone who is pretending that they are not pretending. That's the only difference between child and adult, is the adult is pretending that they are not pretending. And they are so good at pretending that they've forgotten. They've forgotten. That is an adult. And the reason why some children feel that as a loss is because they've lost the fucking holodeck. Every time they go back in the holodeck, it's the same room. And they have these little moments, these little spurts, where they can get back into that, where they can find that holodeck and they can dream again. And it's not working. And the artists in the world, the musicians in the world, the true artists, the ones that don't fucking lie to themselves and others, I'm talking the true, real artists, are the ones that have been crawling and tearing and ripping apart that pretending so it doesn't congeal. Because we suffocate in that. We suffocate in the same fantasy that I am James True, that I am Joshua Reisman. All of it. We lie to ourselves so well that we forget the truth. And the sun is only so big in the sky. It's always a certain, roughly, always a certain diameter. And if you put enough tape all over this sucker, if you do it enough, you can make it where no matter where you put your eyeball, no matter what, you will never see the full picture. And you can live your entire life doing that, where you just never really see what's going on. And that's black magic. It's not evil. This isn't evil. This isn't, let's go drink some children. No. This is, oh, well. Yeah, I forgot to tell you that. Or, oh, I thought I told you that. Or, oh, you didn't know? Or, well, I told you. You should have known. It's the lies we tell ourselves. It's the lies we tell each other. And we fall in love with people that have lied to themselves in just the right way that allow us to lie to ourselves too. And some of us are in for a lonely ride because we're spending a lot of time pulling this shit off. And that all of us go through that. That's the initiation. That's the initiation we talk about. You initiate into that. Building 7, you initiate into that. You decide, you know what? I'm doing too much harm to the world. I'm pulling this tape off. And while you're doing that, other people are like, are you going to use that tape? I can use that. Fuck you. Get away from me. And this I call sharks and dolphins, scorpions, frogs, whatever. And I want us to see the faults of both sides. That's why I talk shit about things that are good. Because no one out there will rape your victimhood. No one. In fact, I'd like to apologize to the word vulnerable. Most of you have tailored your life around the word vulnerable. And it still means that. It's still powerful for you. But I wanted you to see yesterday, I wanted you to experience something that no one will give you. I wanted you to understand that vulnerable is a word. And that word is not the same as permeable. That word is vulnerable. And I think that that is someone lying to you about your victimhood, wanting you to embrace it more. And I don't want that to happen here. It can't happen here. So there's two ways of applying electricity when it comes to lying. You can lie to someone else, and that's putting the spot on the inside, and someone else can believe that. And that's them putting the black spot on the outside of their electric field. And some of us have wonderful internal electrical fields. They're great. Our internal field's fantastic. But our external field is poor. It's piss poor. And these are the people that tend to really get victimized a lot and enjoy it. They enjoy it because the inside of their field is blocked out just enough where they will continuously be raped because everything they see is an orange unicorn. It's a golden unicorn because they painted that on the inside. And no matter what's coming, that's what it is. And there's that I would call that, most of the time you see that in the New Age movement. You see that idea that what we need is loving light. And so what they've done is they painted on the inside of their field, they whitewashed it. They covered it in white paint. And now, if a demon walks up to the glass, he's like, oh, a Wookalar with like, fangs and shit. And it's like, oh. All they see is this white shadow. It's like, oh, look, it's a little puppy dog. That's great. And then like, oh, I got raped. Oh, gee. You're not going to find good people or evil people working on their clarity. Guys, it's not going to happen. If you were here for good, you are not here for clarity. If you were here for evil, you were not here for clarity. And I think when you truly understand this, that dilation is clarity, and good and evil is just black or white paint. Black paint, white paint. Both of them are paint. Both of them are blocking your clarity. And I don't blame you, because that clarity is hard. That clarity is freaking difficult. I don't even know if I'd call it a middle way, Kyle. I think I'd call it just clear. I'm not trying to argue with you, though. This stuff burns. It burns. And that's why so many of us aren't doing it. That's what being illuminated means. The light within, right? The pineal. So the electricity of lies is about melanin. It's about blockage. It's about soothing. It's about victimhood. It's about perpetration. It's all of it. It's all of that. It's corrosion. It's corrosion. And I made a mistake because I was trusting people that were lying to me. I made that mistake. It was a huge mistake. Huge mistake. I trusted her. I trusted him. I trusted them. So bad. And I know it was bad because I wanted it. I wanted to believe that. It was the greatest lie anyone had ever brought me. And I was like, yes, it sounds fucking great. Let me get a stepladder. And when you're angry at the other person, you're really missing an opportunity to find that clarity, to find that. Yeah, I know you've been there in the space gate. We all have. And it should be. V.A. Rockstar, did you say melanin? Yes, I did. So inside Plato's cave, your body, your retinas, use dopamine and melanin to block or allow the flow of information into your retinas. Believe it or not, your rods and cones are slaves to the comfort secretions of your amygdala. And so when I say melanin, that's what I'm talking about. Believe it or not, the pigment that's used to color your skin is the very same pigment that's used to black out and prevent your rods and cones from seeing certain things. And so if you really start to look at what the eyes are a matrix for the adrenals to show you what's comfortable enough for you to see. In fact, if anything, the eyes themselves are comfort devices. They're virtual reality glasses that you put on and you plug them into your amygdala. And you've told the amygdala, hey man, I want this, what you're about to see me, I don't want anything past PG-13. Don't show me any rated R stuff, right? No blood, no death, no gore. And we make that agreement with ourselves through melanin and through dopamine. And the reason why Buddha tells you life is suffering is because to dilate is to allow more truth. Less melanin means more truth. More dopamine means more truth because your eyes are now more comfortable. And this works in your ears too. There's melanin in your ears, guys. So the voices that you hear that no one else does, the voices that they hear that no one else does, are not hallucinations. They're melanin spectrum events. And I'm not here to tell you, well, that voice is real and what you hear is not. No. These are both melanin spectrum events. They are going to appear differently based on the amount of melanin that's secreted, based on your amygdala's ability to even accept what's true. And so when you're surrounded by someone's telluric field that's possessed with lying, that's possessed with self-worth, that's possessed with deceit, that gets off on the electricity of triangulation of whatever the fuck it is, you're dealing with someone that has this in their field. And they don't see the world you do. And you have the same thing. You can't see someone as Jesus does and be like, holy shit, did you see your ancestor right there? Was it Frank? Is that you? And Frank's like, oh, you called my name. It's just like, Frank, God, man, you okay? He's like, no one remembers me. And it's like, Frank, I remember you. And Frank perks up. Frank has reverence now. Frank's been remembered. Does Jesus cast Frank out? Does he say, fuck you, Frank? Fuck you? No. He goes, Frank, are you okay? Are you okay, Frank? Frank, they're waiting for you, buddy. They're wondering where you are. He's like, this isn't my body? No, Frank, no, it's okay. Come on down. Come on down. I didn't think this was my body. I know, Frank. It's cool. It's cool. At no point is Jesus casting demons out. You know, like, fuck you and fuck you. Like the fucking exorcist. You know that shit? Where it's just like, repent. Like fucking retards. Compassion retards. Sorry. Got to get the mic thing. That's what I think Jesus does. That's what Black Belt does. Black Belt sees that because the empathy is so piercing that it cuts right through, and you can see what it's like to be inside and have all these black holes everywhere. You can picture that. You can say, how does that person see the world? And that's what white belts are. That's why we have the dojo. White belts. People that are sheep, right? People that are not accepting what's happening around them. People that are comfortable embracing the system the way it is. They are the pancreas of Leviathan. They are the pancreas of Babylon. What does the pancreas do? It secretes the enzymes necessary to dissolve whatever fucking shit is fed to it. White belt. Don't be coming up here calling white belt stupid. You're stupid. The reason why you're stupid is because you do not know how easy it is to simulate what it's like to be a fucking white belt. Just how easy it is to see the world just as a white belt. That they're only seeing a tiny portion of it. That's why they're like, Illuminati confirmed. Illuminati confirmed. You're the stupid idiot because be mean. But you're the retard because you're treating them like they're the problem. And they're not the problem. The problem is you're not able to simulate what it's like inside their bubble with all their lies. You're not able to see that. You're the problem. Because if you understand this is an issue, if you understand what this is, why are you not working on your ability to have that compassion? To go in there and say, Frank, are you okay? Oh, 19 box cutters. Oh. And this is what we're doing here. This is what we're working on. Right? Owen Benjamin, not a white belt? Of course not. Owen Benjamin's a red belt. Who am I to call him names? That makes me a retard. I want to be a compassionitarian green belt. Right? So I need to learn how to see, how does he see the world? He sees it through red belt eyes. Don't you fucking say morality is in charge of you. I've got my morality meter right here and it's covered and I don't have to look at it anymore. The check engine light is covered, James. How fucking dare you? And I can hear that and go, I got you, Frank. It's okay. It's okay. I know you're mad, Frank. Me mad. I know you're mad. Me hate fire. I know, Frank. I know. I know, dude. But this fire makes soup, dude. Let's just have some soup. We can hate the fire, but let's make soup with it. Okay. That's your job. That's your job. And if you're mad at someone, if someone's lied at you and you're mad at them for that, all of these are your electrical field showing you, hey, fucker, why'd you abandon me? Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it? And you being mad at someone else is you pouring out your prana. You're leaking. You're leaking prana because you're blaming someone else for that. You're like, you're the blame of this. And so every time you see that leak, what you've done is you've opened the leak more. You've put a fucking spigot on it and you've put someone's name on it. And you've turned it on and now it's full on. And you're like, see why I'm leaking? It's because of Frank. It's because of Owen. It's because of this person or that person. It's not. It's not. That's why you guys get so mad at me in here. So many times I get these emails. You know, I freaking hate you now because you're talking like everything's our fault and we're not we're responsible for stuff, and like, James, you're sitting there telling everybody that evil's good, and it's just like, yeah, this is just you bitching. You're the person that's after class who came back to the teacher and says, look, why'd you give me a B-? And you're like, well, because you earned a B-. And you're just like, well, that's not true because I tried it. It's like, no, you got to be minus. I know what an A would look like from you, and that's not. Well, you're just doing this because, yeah, I get it, but I don't care. I don't care if you think that's why I'm doing it. I don't care. Then you're going home and you're like, well, that teacher, that person, he's making it hard on me, and that is part of why you're here. It's part of the school. It's part of the school. And if I'm a mountain, if I'm doing my job right, I'm not catering to that. I'm not responding to that. I'm not feeding that. Because that's victimhood. That's victimhood. Yeah, it's a world of James, how dare yous. It is. And I don't mind you being mad at me because you need someone to come in and go, I need to freaking hit someone's shins. I need to kick someone's shins. And I trust you, James. I trust you. I'm going to kick your shins now. And sadly, that's what they do when they lie to me. Oh, God. That's what they do when they lie to me. They lie to me and I accept it. Yes, there's definitely all that's my fault. But the truth is that they're choosing me to lie to. They know how much compassion they can squeeze out of you. This is brutal because of its two sides, guys. Because you can lie to yourself and because others can lie to you and you can believe it. This is what makes it so brutally difficult. Because you're inside and you're like, I've cleaned the shit out of this thing and there's still a spot right here. What the fuck? What the fuck? And that spot's on the outside. But then when you go on the outside, that spot's back on the inside. And you're just like, how? What the fuck's going on? And that's life is suffering. That's you finding enlightenment. I'd like to open the floor for the airing of grievances. This is the time. Anybody have any grievances? We'll take praises too. But if anybody has any grievances, this is the time to write them down. I'd like to remind everybody that yesterday's video had a 25% downvote to upvote ratio. And I gave everyone the opportunity to come in and talk shit about me. I said I will read these things, I will tell you. And right now, as we're streaming, I have... Someone tell me how many dislikes I have. I don't know. But those people, we'd like to invite you to the front of the room. We'd like to welcome your vitriol. We'd like to embrace whatever it is you got to say. Nothing? Come on now. More puppies? All right, that's good. James, I love you. Well, thank you. Great show. All right. All right, good. I have a grievance. You've yet to answer my Northern Lights question, Dreamy Dudes. Dreamy Dudes, what is your Northern Lights question? Tell me, and I will answer it. And while you're answering that, I'm going to read you something that I wrote on the Northern Lights that's in my new book that is kicking so much ass right now. I can't wait to show it to you. I can't wait to show you this book. It's going to be great. It already is great. I'm some good material that we, you, me, have uncovered in these talks is now in the book. At the center of the world is Aurora Borealis, the sky fountain of Atlantis. This is the navel of Gaia, cut down by Kronos to end the pain of omniscience. Amnesia is medicine to a god who knows it all. The abyss has forsaken him, and he finally understands what he's lost. Nothing is more powerful than everything, because nothing is the power to forget. And I say that because it really does lead right to this idea. I'm going to throw some napalm in. We'll see how you take it. God is not found in the sky. All right? You're looking in the wrong place. God is in the ground. Black magic is overpowering. It's overpowering. It comes from on top of you and it strikes you down. It makes you shrink. White magic is empowering. It comes from below you. It raises you up. It lifts you up. Your ancestors, they're underneath you right now. Right now they're listening. They just heard me say that. Your ancestors just heard me say that because I was speaking to you and you heard it too. They just heard that. You and me, we gain charge by venerating their ears. Their ears, they're listening. We venerate the fact that they are listening. And just by doing that, we receive prana. We receive that energy. And it's because of that that you know that white magic, the magic from below, the magic from where your ancestors are buried, that's the magic of remembering. It remembers. And black magic, the magic from above, the vacuum, the darkness, that's magic that forgets. And both of these are magic, guys. Both of these are important. Black magic is not evil. White magic is not good. Black magic is the magic of forgetting. And I want you to imagine how much, how do I say this? We talk about how powerful white magic is all the time. But none of us understand how truly powerful the abyss is. The ability to forget is something that truly is the most omnipotent, omniscient thing you could ever imagine. The power to forget. And you and me don't have that power. We only have the power to remember. We can say, oh, we do have the power to forget, but we really don't. All we can do is lay days between each other. All we can do is just stack more and more days between each other. We can create a buffer of spine, of space and time. We can create that buffer. But we can't forget. Forgetting requires a special kind of magic. And God is omniscient, is omnipotent, is knowing all things. The ability for him to forget, the ability for him to create an amnesia farm and put all of us in it is truly one of the most stunning displays of magic you can ever know. And it's not evil. It's black. It's not evil. It's black. And black gives us comfort. Black helps us block things out. Black gives us the amnesia to survive another day while we lie to ourselves and each other. When you embrace the abyss, you start to realize that if you're going to paint your field with black ink or with white, you're still hiding the truth of what's there. You're still abandoning that clarity. Let me see if I can find that question. Sorry, a lot of things were scrolled by here. Feppy the Penguin, black magic is literally the opposite of truth and real power. I'm going to stop you there and I'm going to say, believe it or not, black magic is required for forgiveness. Guys, you got to get, I know this is hard. This is fucking hard. I'm telling you, oh, well, that's, the language of Latin has a past, present tense participle that's only good when you're using it in the informal setting. I realize this has to sound like this because of what I just said. But when you truly understand what I'm telling you about black magic, you truly understand why I tell you that the witch's titty is pretty great. Because we are now embracing the electrical, emotional feedback that we get from everything. And the ability to forget is so primal that God used it to make who you are. And there's no way that I'm going to call that evil. There's no way that I'm going to witness you calling that evil in my presence. James True, is there a connection between the Northern Lights and the human heart energy center, sort of like a spiritual magnet drawing us as a whole into that state? I love that idea. I don't know. It seems like this land is a giant heart. It seems like, so in my weird opinion, if you look back at Greek mythology, if you look back at most of our old stories, I've told you this before, that the oldest story I can find is Kronos cutting the umbilical cord of the world. Now, that umbilical cord has an interesting history mythologically. There's always been a massive competition for declaring the center of the world. That this center of the world has moved through time, and it's moved by the psyche of other people. Julius Caesar moved the center of the world. He moved the center of time itself. He changed the calendar. And there are different people that are able to move and change this center. And what I think happened is that the Tower of Babel, the last Tower of Babel that was built, we've built many, is a physical tower in the center. And if we were to live inside a giant torus, a giant toroidal field, then in the center of our world, possibly at the North Pole, there could be a tower that is built on the resonance of being in the center of the torus. That there's a natural magnetic resonance there. In fact, I'm suggesting that if you could ever go into orbit anywhere, it would only be there, around that ring around the dome. That there's some sort of magnetic energy there. In fact, the firmament, if you believe in a firmament, that firmament itself could be simply the cold fusion of hot magnetics. That the ice wall itself is generated by the exchange of thermals from our outer toroidal field. And that what you're seeing when you see the Northern Lights is Gaia spewing. She's bleeding her plasma into the air because her umbilical was cut. And that same story, the idea that the umbilical was cut, that Gaia the snake, it's actually Gaia, I think, Gaia the snake, was cut down, that Delphi, the Oracle at Delphi, the Oracle at Delphi is fascinating because the Oracle at Delphi, the virgin who sat on the tripod that was like, oh, you're going to have some good crops and that king's going to come and take your land. That chick was sat on top of a copper throne that was on top of a tripod that sat underneath a crack in the earth that was said that Apollo, in this case, although it wasn't always Apollo, that temple actually only 3/4 of the time was even dedicated to Apollo, which is fascinating. But anyway, Dionysus was the other part. Anyway, that Gaia was cut, and the putrid smell of that was spewing up from the ground. And that spewing, the ethanol, was causing the virgin to enter her state and give her interpretation. Now, what's fascinating about that in the center of the world is outside of the Temple of Delphi, there is the Orumbulus stone, or Orumbulus, prove my lips, Orumbulus stone. And that stone is called the center of the world. And I think what happens is that when you truly understand psychic energy, you move the center of the world to where you want it. You claim that. I think the pyramid is part of that. I think the move of Mecca, before Mecca was Mecca, it was in a different location. It was north. It's really weird. It's really weird. So I hope that answers your question. Actually, a lot of this is actually in my book, Quantum Rapture. Fepe the Penguin. James, I vaguely heard you on Crow once, distracted with people in a car. Did not really get any wow vibes. Maybe it was Crow, not sure, but only found you now, and I'd say you are woke as Jesus. Also, there is no evil. Right on. Crow does not, I cannot get Crow past Yellow Belt. I'm sorry, but I can't. Every time I've tried to explain to Crow, the best apocalypse ever, Dojo Earth, I cannot get him past the victim part. I can't. It's that yellow, orange, red thing. And to get him past that, to get him to green, I have to walk him through red. And that red is very reactionary with him right now. I would love to get it further, but I can't. I can't. And I would issue that as a challenge even. But it's not going to happen. Because the times I've tried to bring that up, he doesn't have that. He's got, in my opinion, he's got that thing blocked out. Now, that's my opinion. Crow's smart as fuck. That dude drops things that I'm just like, holy shit. And I'm just like looking it up. Is that fucking true? And it is. I got nothing but mad respect for him. But each of us have learned to perfect the belt that we're on. And I think that a lot of people have gotten really good at orange-red belt. Really good. And most of us have never even considered that there could be a green belt. In fact, I'd like to say that as a shout out to Crow too, by association, that the talk that I had with Jason, Secrets of Saturn, and Wayne is proof that all of us are looking to expand more, including Crow. We're looking to expand more, and we try. And what is Owen Benjamin? Exact same thing. Can only go so far, right? Richie from Boston, probably more yellow belt. Owen Benjamin, probably more orange. And Crow's probably red, orange, red. I think I am too. I'm working on my green belt. I don't have my green belt. If I had my green belt, this love triangle that fucked me up wouldn't have been there. If I had my green belt, I'd probably not piss nearly as many people off. So I'm working on this too. It's all part of it. It's all part of it. And the key is we have to be as honest as we can with each other in the dojo as we can. Oh, thank you, David Trainer. Yes, James True and Crow, episodes 194, 207, and 230. Now, 194, I wasn't even there. Like, at that point where I was thinking about Dojo Earth like this. And to be fair, even more fair to Crow, episode 230, he asked me beforehand, I want to talk about Masons, Solomon's Temple. So it wasn't even really inside the genre, if that makes sense. People, it's really hard to get Dojo Earth through. And it should be. It should be. It should be. Yeah, and there's nothing against Richie from Boston. Richie from Boston introduced me to more work than anyone else did. Definitely more than Owen did. Richie from Boston has been one of the most influential people when it came to bringing eyes to my audience. And I'm counting people that are supposed to be my friends, like my allies. People like really, really big audiences that can't share me because they're too afraid. It's like, well, I have to be careful of who I share. RFB did that first. Now, he won't have me back on. At least I don't think he will. I've contacted him a few times. Not really like, will you have me back on, but about other stuff. But he can't afford that. And there's no one in his audience wants to think about a green belt. No one. They like that red belt. They like that orange belt. And there's fine. Guys, all this is true. I need you to look at the white belt, the yellow belt, the orange belt, the red belt, the green belt, the brown belt, the black belt. I want you to look through all of them. I don't have the truth. That's right. Good job, Fepe. You're the only teacher. You're the only one. Joe the Toe, Crow 777 is 1,000 feet ahead of you in waking people up. Show some respect, weirdo. So that's like a perfect example of what I mean. Most people are not interested in the green belt. Joe the Toe is one of them. So is Crow. And they're telling you, you cannot have respect for someone by questioning them. You're asking the wolves, hey man, you said he was alpha 3 years ago. So, how dare you? And what I'm doing is I'm raising Crow up. I'm challenging Crow. I'm making it expensive for Crow. Guys, Crow invited me to do a show on Zionism and said you cannot use the word Zionism. And he said that right before the show. So don't be sitting here telling me I have to have respect for him. No. I have an obligation to Crow. My obligation to Crow is to be like, dude, I need you to say the word Zionism. And when Crow said that to me, I was flabbergasted because I was about to go online. I was about to go on, and I'm a writer. I'm a prolific badass writer. I am. I do good things with my words. I make titties hard with my words. I do. I know how to write. If there's anyone in this movement that knows how to use words, I am one of them, damn it. I am. And to have Crow tell me you cannot say this word Zionism is not something that you should tell me that, James, you need to fucking learn more from Crow. No. I need to help Crow. And I need to help everyone that's made this difficult. And there are people out there that are making it difficult for you to green belt. And those people think this is about respect. Those people think the way to get to truth is you have to respect the right person at the right time for the right amount of energy. And as long as you do that, then someone's going to come give you a fucking cookie because I'm Joe the Toe. And I've been here for a while, and I changed my own moniker to make fun of someone Owen was making fun of, so I got all the props already, so blah, blah, blah. And that's how we don't learn shit. That's how you end up at 5 in the morning, Joe, looking up at the sky going, oh, look, that star. It makes me think of butt sex. Gosh, I wonder if Owen's thinking about butt sex right now. That's what you get from playing that bullshit. The respect I owe Crow is as a sovereign human. The respect I owe Crow is that when Crow calls me in to say I want James True on the show, he's going to get exactly James True 100% no matter what. And before that show, I said, I can't do that, Crow. I can't go on the show and not say Zionism, and there was tension in the room. And I didn't back the fuck down. Why? Because I respect Crow. Meanwhile, Joe the Toe's getting down on his knees going, let me suck your dick off, Crow, because you said something and I want to make sure I hear you. That's where you're at, Joe. That's where you're at. That's why you're mad I didn't do the same to Owen. How dare you not show him respect? I am showing both of them respect by looking at them going, why are you being so fucking retarded about this? And not Crow. Crow wasn't being retarded. Crow was being authentic and honest. Owen's the one that didn't look me in the eye and say, hey, dude, you're scaring my audience. Crow's the one that before I started saying, hey, man, my audience means a lot to me. Don't fuck with it. These are two different people. And they're doing the same thing, and both of them are asking for my respect, and both of them will get it. And so I told Crow, if you're going to make me go on, if you want me to go on, I need you to tell me you want James True. I need you to tell me you have confidence in James and what he says and how he says it and what's going to happen. And it was hard. It was a shitty show. Because right before I went on stage, the dude that could have invigorated me and given me all that power, came up to me and said, "Oh, James, before you got on the stage," and he stabbed me in the kidney and said, "Don't say the word Zionism." And the entire topic that I was going to give was that the most anti-Semitic thing you could be is a Zionist. And I was separating these words, and we needed that. His audience needed to hear that separation. And I'm glad that he still did the show. But it shows you. It shows you the work we have to do. It shows you that. And that's why it's so expensive. That's why I have 14.8 thousand subscribers now versus 17. I don't need Crow to like me. I need Crow to know what he's going to get if James True comes on. I don't need Owen to like me. I need him to get that I'm going to fucking bitch slap him if he starts encouraging people to lay down on their knees like a bitch. You want to go play that Vox shit where everything's evil and we've categorized everyone into a letter. You're an alpha. You're a beta. All you're doing is disassociating yourself like a freaking numbnut. No one's those things. You can function in those things if you want to, or you can change. You can tell the truth or you can't. You can be a little bitch like Joe the Toe and get down on your knees whenever someone invites you on a podcast, or you could be James True and take some fucking hits. Burn some calories. My back's on fire. How many times am I on camera even though my back's on fire? I don't stop. I'm here every fucking day. Fucking tell me. You show respect. Where's your respect, Joe? Where? I don't see it. You don't even have your own name. You don't even have respect for your own name, dude. You got to name yourself something else. What does that say? No, it's not. There's nothing wrong with Crow, Chrissy. No, I'm just telling you. Some of us are not ready for these ideas I'm talking about. And I think that we're healthier when we see that. That's all. I think we have a healthier approach to who we're listening to. How we're listening. Guys, have you seen Mark Passio go off on flat earthers? Are you aware that you could still like Mark Passio, but still watch him go off like a retarded monkey on flat earthers? Have you seen Tom Sheridan freak the fuck out on anyone who doesn't believe in high altitude orbit? Have you seen Jordan Sather veins pop from his forehead when you say blue space chicken to him? Do you think that these are hurting them? Do you guys think, oh, we're hurting the truth movement by doing this? Because we're not. We're challenging each other like a pack of wolves should do every freaking day. Every day. And the moment you see what you call a flaw in one of your leaders is the moment that you suddenly find another gear. Another gear in your engine has been found when you see a flaw in James True. Because you have a gear that I don't now. And you only know that because you saw that flaw in me. It's the worst thing you could do is put Crow on a pedestal. The worst thing you could do is put Owen on a pedestal. The worst thing you could do is put me on a pedestal. Every stream, I tell you a lie. And it could have been what I just said. That could have been the lie. It's right now what we have is an appetite for this. We have an appetite for the black tape on the screen. And we've created a tacit agreement with each other to keep that tape up. Mess with anyone. The people that are going to respect me after I challenge them are the ones that I want to do their show. And Crow's had me on since that. He's had me on since that. I think he's a little bit more nervous about me, and that's fine. But I'm not ruining my career by telling you. I'm not ruining my career by not catering to him, by not showing him respect. I am building one. I am building a core, a field. And some of you have come to know it. You know it because you know where it has integrity, and you know where it's, holy fuck, man, it's nuts over here. You know that. And I'm not here to show you all the integrity parts. I'm not here to only spit off, oh, let me tell you this. It doesn't work that way. You have to watch the process unfold. The only thing that should be different with me forever flat is that I want to show you the anatomy of my lies. That's my goal. My goal is not to say I will not lie to you. My goal is to show you the anatomy of those lies. Because when you start to understand the anatomy of that, you truly start to understand yourself, and you start to develop that second attention, that Jesus stuff where you can start to look in there and see. It's a whole other way of interpreting the world. And they're never going to get there through victimhood. You're never going to get there through victimhood. And if you feel like you can't say the word Zion on your show, I think you're having some victimhood. I think we all are. I think we live in a world that supports victimhood. There's plenty of opportunities to feel that. And you know, I'll tell something else. Crow supports other people with that show. There's other people depending on his survival. I've said this before, how beautiful it is that I don't have a family, is that I don't have that. No one's like, oh my God, James, you're going to ruin my life if you say that. I don't have that pressure. He does. If anything should have respect for, it should be that. That's definitely worthy of that. Anyway, getting way over. There's a dojo today in 7 minutes. I need to get off because I need to send out the invites to people. If you're subscribed on JTrue, you could be in the dojo right now. You go to JTrue and log in, and then hit the dojo. You'll see 12. You'll click it there. If you're on Patreon, you could already be in. You'll go to Patreon. You'll see the new post. You'll see the dojo invite. You'll click there. You'll be inside right away. If anyone's not getting an email about these notices, let's talk about it in the dojo, or email me, james@jtrue.com, so we can get all that worked out. And guys, there are no enemies. All there is tape. All there is black tape, either inside your field or outside your field. There are no enemies. You're the one that bought the lie. You did that, not them. All right?
Stones into the sea. I'll give you some long time. I need to go catch a